Well, I hope I'm going live. Had a connection problem there for a few minutes. Um, I would ask anybody watching, if you have questions, try to find a scrap of paper and jot them down, and I'll make time for questions at the close of this Facebook Live. I don't know how long I'll be going on, hopefully not too long. We all have lives. So anyway, I call this Facebook Live Wrangling Hurricanes, and I just want to take things kind of a step beyond groups of people posting about doing meditations to stop the hurricanes. We have 3 going at one time right now, and the biggest one that we need to worry about at the moment is Irma. And then there are some others behind that, and I can't remember the names of them right now. Excuse me 1 minute, I'm going to grab something here and make sure that my phone doesn't go off while I'm doing this. So there we go. Okay. So anyway, I don't know how many of you saw the miniseries by Steven Spielberg called Taken. And the little girl, Allie, who was produced as the culmination of a breeding program that the Greys were doing with humans to try to create a hybrid between themselves and humans. But in that movie, or in that miniseries, she was put under a lot of stress and a lot of pressure, and the people that were trying to put the pressure on, the government people, were trying to put her under pressure to see if she would demonstrate any special abilities or skills that she had as a result of her being a hybrid of the Greys and the humans. And of course she did. And she did it in some very powerful and very, very dramatic ways. Okay, the first time was she was trying to run away, and she slowed or stopped cars on a freeway so that she could run safely across the freeway. And the next time she did it where she created an entire illusion to try to fool the government people into thinking that she'd kind of made this all happen so that they would let her and her family go, so they could go back and just be a family and she could just be a little girl. So she did demonstrate those abilities in a powerful way. Now those abilities, because we purportedly have the ET genetics of 22 different ET species within us. Okay, not all of that was done by service to self. Sometimes it was done by those ETs that we would call star family. Okay, and in that DNA are some amazing abilities. And those abilities have been unlinked and disconnected by the service to self ETs way back in our early history. But those codons in the DNA are beginning to turn themselves back on and beginning to reconnect. And through the power of love, we can keep reconnecting more and more and more of those codons. So anyway, that was about Allie and Taken. As far as working with these hurricanes, I think that it would be best to try to keep it in a way that's real. So if we look at a hurricane picture, and I wish I had one to hold up, but if we look at a hurricane picture, there's an eye in the center, and then there's all this activity going around the eye in a big spiral. Okay, and it's going in one direction. So whichever way the arms of the spiral at the very edge are sticking out, that hurricane is spinning in such a way to make it go that way. Okay, so the way you can demonstrate this to yourself is to stand in your living room and hold your arms at your sides, and then spin around a few times and watch which way your arms go. That way you can determine the direction of the rotation of the hurricane. Okay, so my idea here is to work with what we know and to work with what we feel that we may be able to do in consciousness. Okay, the reason I put the video below my post about this morning about Jean from the X-Men movie. She was a very powerful X-woman with extremely powerful telekinetic abilities. Again, that's something that humans have demonstrated. particularly over in Russia when they did all kinds of experimentation and study of psychic powers and telekinetic abilities. So we know that we have that. We know that we have that within us, okay? The other thing was when she had her hands out in this way. She had this hand out to stop the flood, and then she had this hand behind her going up, as she was trying to help the, if you can kind of see this here, she was trying to help the jet with all of her ex-people, family members on, her friends, and including children. She was trying to help that to lift off and trying to help the jet get started while holding the water back with this hand. So basically that provides a really good visual for us to visualize ourselves, hopefully at least in groups of 3. So if you can get together with groups of 3, I would say stand together, maybe hold hands, maybe, you know, be connected. If you can, be outside on the earth in your bare feet, then ask the earth's energy to come and move through you and help with this ability and this intention to create a way to break up the hurricane. So that's what we're going to probably do. So if you stand on the earth, I mean, if you've seen the movie Grounded, we know that there's an energy that comes from the earth that enters us through the soles of our feet if we're wearing conductive footwear or if we're barefoot. And the earth herself is a gigantic living entity with consciousness. And I can't believe that she wants to kill and wipe out all of her children, of which we are on the planet. And I'm not only talking about human beings. I'm talking about animals and plants and birds and insects and every single living thing that creeps or crawls or flies on the earth's surface, including the mineral kingdom. Everything has a spark of consciousness within it. And if we reach out to that consciousness that's non-human, I believe that we can affect positive change also. So anyway, again, connect with your feet to the earth in the best way you can with conductive footwear or with your bare feet if you're in a place that will support doing that. Otherwise, just do it and know that you're kind of swimming in the Schumann field resonance frequencies of the earth anyway. So we're going to go out, again, hopefully in groups of 3, okay? And what I want you to do is close your eyes and visualize, similar to what Jean was doing, though we're not trying to pick up an aircraft and get that flowing. What we want to do is we want to visualize creating a disturbance in this huge swirling spiral of high winds. We want to create enough of a disturbance that part of that hurricane breaks off and goes someplace else. And what we want to do is direct those parts of the hurricane that are breaking up as we break up this hurricane. The thing that we want to do is direct those to go to the areas in the United States, and maybe all over the world, but I know we have a lot of fires in the United States. We want to direct all that wind and rain, you know, devastating heavy amounts of rain in a hurricane. So we want to direct that rainfall to the areas that are burning. So as you stand there, so you're imagining yourself in your own safe little bubble, and you're standing right there with your 2 friends that you've gotten in your group, or more friends, or we may do a meditation together here online. So we're going to stand there, and we're going to put our hands out in our nice safe little bubble while the hurricane rages outside of our bubble, in our mind's eye, in our visualization. And we're going to see ourselves as enough of a powerful disturbance within the field of this hurricane, spinning around and around and around the eye, that a piece of it just breaks off and flies off someplace else. And then we're intending that someplace else to be where it can help the fires go out, where the fires can be rained on and support the firefighters that are probably exhausted from fighting these fires, and help them to put these fires out. So this is what the intention that I want to do for this visualization for the hurricane. And as I said in a post earlier, doing this kind of work is crisis management. You know, it's the powers that be that throw out all this stuff going on the planet. And then we jump in with our meditations and our visualizations and our intentions, trying to push it away. And there's way more of us than them. And our consciousness does have an impact. Our consciousness is having an impact right now. As I said at my talk at Eclipse of Disclosure, it's us. It's all of us. Humanity as a unified collective. At an unconscious level, with our thought forms being manipulated and controlled down through the ages, that have produced a version of reality that we see around us every day, that we don't like. Okay, but we have been programmed into it to spin it out from our consciousness, and then basically what we've done is we've created our own jail, our own matrix of control, and we live in it, and we complain about it all the time because we don't remember we created it at the subconscious level. Okay, now some people may have a problem with this idea. If you do, I will try to explain that at a deeper level at some other time. But if you can just hear me at this moment, it's our collective unified consciousness at an unconscious level that spins out a version of reality that keeps the elites on top and keeps us subject to them. And they've gone to a great deal of trouble to make us feel like disempowered little individual people who have no real power, that they're the ones that hold all the power and control. Not true. That's a big lie. Because our consciousness has created this matrix that we live in and complain about, we have the key to undo it. But we have to become conscious and aware that it's been done to us in order to do that. And in order to create a new planet, we have to be very careful. Not a new planet, but a new environment to live in on the earth. We don't want it to be like this world that we're complaining about all the time, that scares us all the time. We want it to be something new. So this new world has to be created on a foundation of love. It has to be created on a foundation of love and caring for ourselves and our fellow human beings. It can't be otherwise, because if we bring any of the negative emotions in, then this new way of being on this planet could be subverted right from the beginning. And we have enough stuff in our own nature that isn't all that dark that could create problems down the road. So we don't need to be bringing any of the nasty negative energies from the world as it is today into what we're trying to visualize for the future. Now what I'm talking about today, again, the hurricane issues and the fire issues, those are crisis management for consciousness. So that's basically what we're doing today. We're having crisis management on a conscious level, using our consciousness to make things differently, to make things break up, to make a more positive situation for this. The other thing we need to be aware of is karma. It's possible, however difficult it may be, it's possible that at higher levels of consciousness out in the universe, there are karmic reasons for this kind of thing to unfold. So we want to be working in alignment with what is karmically necessary for the planet right now. Okay, but I still think we can do it in such a way that those who need to meet their karma will, and those innocents that are out there that need our help and protection from these catastrophic weather patterns will be helped. So that's what I'm hoping to work with today. So we're in that place today where we need to reach deep within ourselves and demonstrate, just like Ali did in Taken. We need to demonstrate what we can do through the power of our consciousness. We have the right genetics within us. We just need to activate them. And we know that love is the activating force of those codons. So what we need to do is we need to think about all the people who are in this path of the hurricane, mothers with children, fathers with families, people that we can feel inspired to love in our hearts, to love them, to want to help them in some way, if it's possible to do so. And so that's the way to generate the love, the wave of love we need to do this work, the wave of love. So, and again, love activates the codons. and I think I've covered everything that was on my little page of notes there. Does anybody have any questions now? Any questions for me? Let's see. No. Okay, so I think what we're going to do here is we're going to do a short visualization intention process, just so that you can kind of get the idea of what it is, and I'm going to save this video so you can go back and look at it and refresh your memory. Excuse me, I got this belching thing going on. So anyway, so what we're going to do is we'll close our eyes and I'll kind of talk us through it. And I'll say, okay, even if you're not with a group of 3 people right now, all of us that are listening to me right now and myself, we are all here. So let's do this. Let's visualize ourselves in little groups, maybe 4 places around that huge spiral of hurricane. Okay, so visualizing that we're there in our little protective bubbles, where the winds and the rains rage around us, but we are untouched. We are there with our consciousness bubbles within the storm. And from within those bubbles, we're pushing our energy out, just like Jean did with the flood, pushing our energy out and out and out, and creating a hole, creating a fracture in this hurricane. We're creating a fracture at all 4 of those points. This is just for starters, because we could have 6 points, we could have 8 points, depending on how many people, all around that whole spiral. So within our little bubble, we're pushing our energy out. We're seeing the fractures start within Hurricane Irma. And all that big spiral is beginning to fracture. It's beginning to break up. And as it breaks up, we see it moving away and joining a weather pattern in a powerful way that's heading west to go out to the fires burning in the northeast United States. And we see those clouds heavy with rain, going straight out west to all the fires burning on the west and the northwest side of the United States. And we're still in Hurricane Irma, and we're still pushing that energy afar, and more parts of it are fracturing off and moving towards the west to help with the fires. Not as big, ravaging storms, but nurturing thunderstorms that can help put out those fires, that can support the efforts of the firefighters already there. So back to Irma. We're in those spots. We're pushing out with our energy. We're pushing out with the energy of love for all the people in the path of these hurricanes. We're pushing outward. We're making those fractures. Hurricane Irma is beginning to lose its cohesion. It's beginning to lose its cohesion. It's beginning to fracture apart. The winds are slowing down as they encounter our resistance and our push, as they encounter that wave of love that wants to go out to the people in the path of this hurricane. Going out and going out. Okay, so that is an example of what we can do. You can return here to this video at any time, look at it. I'm going to do my best to save it and upload it to YouTube this afternoon as well. So again, are there any of you that have any questions about what we've just done here today, or any questions about what I talked about in the very beginning? So far, I do not see any questions. Okay. So anyway, since I don't see questions, what I'm going to say here is, as I move forward with the Consciousness Initiative, and there's a lot of information in my book about consciousness and how it can help, and my book was meant to be a beginning of this, and then my life got seriously derailed for 3 years after the book was published. But there's a lot of information in the book. But as we move forward with the Consciousness Initiative, there will be parts of it that will be crisis management like this, because we're moving through a time of incredibly intense earth changes right now, and it may go on for another year or two. So there's going to be a lot of work for everybody, work of the heart. And the other part of the Consciousness Initiative is not crisis management. The other part of the Consciousness Initiative is to generate teams. What I want to do is get people into teams, and I want people to work on whatever they're passionate about. So for me, the environment is my passion. You know, cleaning up our oceans, stopping the deforestation of the planet in the rainforests and in the Northwest, and finding other building supplies. You know, there are so many things. So there's environmental, which would probably have a lot of sub-teams to handle ocean or forests or, you know, waterways, things like that. And then we would have teams to deal with politics and turning politics towards something that is of, by, and for the people, instead of for the selfish people that take office and want to line their own pockets with special interest money. There would be teams for economics. There would be teams for health care, and real health care, where we're eating and living in such a way that we support our immune systems to fight off disease and don't need vaccines anymore. There is so much that we can do. So anything, as I make that list and put it out there, if there's anything that you feel passionate about, that you want to sign on to, please do so. Okay, because this is the way we need to make positive change. People have been talking about the fact that our thoughts make the world for many years now. And it's time for the rubber to meet the road. We are in serious, deep stuff, and we can change it. We are the ones that have the keys to the prison the elites forced us to create through suffering and pain and torture and physical, mental, and emotional manipulation and indoctrination. They've created this by convincing us we're nothing. We're just disconnected, little, impotent individuals that have no real power, when the real truth is they're the ones that have no power without us. They've used us. They've manipulated our consciousness to produce a version of reality, again, that works for them and keeps us subject to them. But we were the ones that had the power all the time, and we still have the power. Now it's time to understand what's been done to us and to wield that power consciously and fully. And I hope that you will join me in doing the Consciousness Initiative. I have a group on Facebook called Solutions for Gaia. I'm probably going to change the name of it to the Consciousness Initiative. And in that group, I want to put out the action items for all the different teams we will need for the Consciousness Initiative. And I'm also collecting links, not just, you know, the ones I post, but other ones that other people bring too, because we're all in this together. You know, I just had an idea and I'm trying to follow it. But nothing can happen without all of you. It's all of you that are going to make this happen. I can't do it all by myself. We have to join together. Okay, so I'll be changing Solutions for Gaia to the Consciousness Initiative. And I want to keep compiling all the things, people that are doing amazing work in the world to try to clean it up and make it a better place. Like, I love the guy, Mr. Stamos, with his mushrooms and studying what mushrooms and fungi can do for our environment. You know, and we need visualizations for the ocean to clean up the plastic. You know, there is so much work to do. And if you're tired of reading posts and reading articles and sitting on your hands and feeling like you're not really doing anything to contribute to a better world, then this is the possibility that exists for you to begin to do things in your own homes, just with the power of your consciousness, imagining yourself united with all other people who are doing these kinds of things, and make a difference. and make a better world, and put this world back in our own hands, where we can steward it with love and with connection and with caring for each other. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me for this short time, and I hope to see many of you later on online. Okay, bye-bye. I love you. I can't let it won't quit. So I'm trying to finish here, but it's not quitting, so let me try it again.